Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Benedict here from BJ Learn, and I want us today talk about triggers and actions. So, triggers and actions in Power BI are concepts often associated with Power Automate workflows rather than Power BI itself. So, triggers are events that start a workflow or automation process in Power Automate. They define the conditions under which the workflow will run. And then for Power BI, triggers are typically related to changes or updates in datasets, reports, or other events. So when we talk about triggers, we have different types of triggers. We have schedule triggers, we have dataset triggers, we have manual triggers, we have alert-based triggers. So when I talk about schedule trigger, we mean the triggers that automate data refreshes at specific intervals, let's say daily, weekly, or monthly. Example, we can say run this data flow every day at 9 a.m. to export data from a Power BI dataset. So every day at 9 a.m. The data flow or the trigger will run the data flow and export data from Power BI dataset. And then we also have dataset triggers. So this responds to updates in a Power BI dataset. An example being when a dataset is refreshed, notification can be sent to an email. So let's say maybe um, we've decided to maybe just refresh our dataset manually. So when the trigger is set within that dataset, a notification will be sent to an email for the respective variants or the respective recipients to know that data has been refreshed. And then we also have manual trigger. So manual triggers start a workflow manually via button in Power BI or Power Automate. So we can also say, for an example, click a button to export a report to PDF. So when you click that button, a report will be exported to PDF. And then you also have alert-based triggers. So this will respond to Power BI data-driven alerts. An example would be when a KPI exceeds its threshold, we can send an SMS notification. So the application will send an SMS notification to respective recipients when a KPI exceeds its threshold. So before you set triggers, we always have on-premises data gateway. So on-premises data gateway will connect your local data sets with the Power BI desktop or service. And then the on-premises data gateway are in two different types. We have the standard mode, and we also have um, the personal mode. So before you just set triggers, you must have a data gateway, on-premises data gateway. Like now, what you have in my screen. Down here, I have on-premises data gateway personal mode. So this one. So before I show you how we set a trigger for refreshes, let me try to expand on premises data gateway. So we'll start with the standard mode. So the standard mode is designed for multi-user and enterprise scenarios, where the key features are multi-user access. So it supports multi-users accessing and refreshing data from on-premises data sources. And then another feature is centralized management. So the services or data is being managed centrally by an administrator, and then it also supports multiple services. This means that it works with not only Power BI but also Power Apps, Power Automate, Azure Analysis, rather Azure Analysis Services, and Azure Logic Apps. And then another feature is that enterprise, it is meant for enterprise use case. So it is ideal for shared or organized organization level reports and dashboards. And then it's also uh, best for data source sharing. So you can share a single data source connecting among multiple users. And then we also have advanced scheduling as a feature for standard mode, which means that it provides advanced refresh scheduling options for datasets. And then for the use case scenario for standard mode is that it is meant for large organizations needing a single gateway for all users and services. And then it's also uh, best used when scenarios are requiring access to multiple on-premises data sources by multiple users. And then um, another best case scenario used for standard mode is centralized IT teams managing gateway configuration and updates. And then rather the second type of on-premises data gateway is the personal mode. So the personal mode is designed for individual use and simpler setups, where we have key features as single user access. So it is tied to a specific user. Only the user who installs the gateway can use it. So apparently what I'm using here is the personal mode. So it's only me who can set it up, and it's only me who can use it. So this is personal mode on premises data gateway. And then another feature for on premises data gateway personal mode is that it is only meant for Power BI only. So this one is only meant for Power BI only. It works exclusively with Power BI, does not support Power Apps, Power Automate, or other services. And then another key feature here is that um, it has data source configuration. So rather, it does not allow sharing of data sources or connection with others because it is personal mode. It cannot allow sharing of data sources. Then another key feature is less management overhead. So there is no centralized control. The user manages their own gateway. So like this one now, I'm managing my own gateway. So um, there's no overhead for managing this personal on-premises data gateway. So the key uses here for personal mode is for individual users creating reports that require access to on-premises data, and then users who do not need to share their reports on or data sources with others. So like now I don't need to share resources with others, so I'm using the personal mode on premises data gateway. And then it's also simpler to use with minimal IT involvement. So I don't need IT person to come and set it up for me. I can just download it and set it up. So before you use the on premises data gateway, you should ask yourself which one do you need to use, or why should you use the standard mode or personal mode. So we are saying that standard mode, you'll need to use it to manage enterprise-wide data access for multiple users and services. So when you want to manage an enterprise uh, for data access, you'll use the standard mode. But when you are using the personal mode, it means that you are an individual user working on personal projects or proof of concept reports that don't require collaboration or sharing. Like now, what I'm doing is like, of course, I'm trying to do some classes about data analysis, but I'm not sharing this with other individuals that will require to access the data that I'm using for the classes that I'm trying to teach. So let me just try to show you how we can uh, uh, do an example, rather create an example of how we can uh, create a refresh of data within Power BI service. But we must first connect the Power BI service, or rather the Power BI service or Power BI desktop with the on-premises data gateway. So this is personal mode. So it is a personal mode. I'm connecting. It's been connected to my Power BI desktop, and then it's also linked with the Power BI service. So where we'll start. First, what you need to do, um, you need to have an account with the Power BI service. So I think we have quite a number of videos explaining how you can set a free account on Power BI service. So that one you can check on other videos as well to see how you can set up a free account for Power BI service. So here we are. So I'll come here and click on my name. So I've already signed in, but now I now want to get into Power BI service. So I'll click here and go to Power BI service. So there's no. So let me try to connect the internet and then I'll come back and continue the same. So after having created a free account with Power BI service, you'll come to Power BI service and click on this arrow here. So here we need to download the data gateway. So you'll click on this data gateway and then you'll choose the either personal mode or standard mode. So we'll come here, choose either. So in my case, I'm using the personal mode. Then after downloading, uh, you'll have to install the gateway, of which you'll have to have some credentials for logging in, and the credentials for logging in within the data the on-premises data gateway should be same as the credentials for logging in within the Power BI service and the Power BI desktop. So in our case here, I will not install because already it is installed. But installing the gateway uh, is a simple process. Uh, is a simple process that will not give you some sort of headache. So having installed the gateway and having the proper credentials for logging in the gateway and the Power BI service, first you need to come here and create a report that you want to do refreshes on. Rather, you'll have to create a report that's linked to the database or data sets that you'll be refreshing on daily basis or weekly or monthly. So apparently we have sales by month. So I'll click on this report. The report is within my Power BI desktop. So I'll click on this report and I will publish it on Power BI service. So first I have to save the changes, and then we'll publish it on Power BI service. Then here we have uh, I have my workspace where I can publish the report. So I will click my workspace here and then select. So we can have different uh, workspaces, but apparently I just have one as workspace. So let me try to replace this data set because already it is there in the Power BI service. So let me try to replace this. Then it's been published. So it is successful. Then from here now, now that we've installed our on-premises data gateway, and then already we are logged in on premises data gateway. So meaning it has been connected with the Power BI service and Power BI desktop. So the data source uh, and the reports have been linked through the uh, on premises data gateway. So I will come here and click on this my profile picture. I'll go to Power BI service again. So after opening the Power BI service, I can go to my workspaces, but within my workspace, I only have a single workspace, but you can always create a new workspace. So the report that I was saving on the data service, or rather on the Power BI service, it was saved within my workspace. So I will click on this my workspace. That's where I have the report and the data set saved. So here we can see Power BI classes as a report and Power BI as classes as a semantic model of the or rather data set. So I will come to this. I will click on these three ellipses, the three dots. I will click here. Then after clicking here, I will go up to where we have settings. We'll click on settings. Then after having clicked on settings, I will come down the drop down. I'll go to where we have the refresh. Then after expanding on the refresh, here now we can change the time zone. So apparently I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. So I will change it to the time zone within Nairobi, Kenya. So I will scroll down. Then let me just go up again. Um, so we have UTC plus 003 00. This is for Nairobi. Then again, for you to refresh, this button has to be on. It has to be on for refresh. Then I will come down here again and set the frequency. So the frequency can be weekly or daily. So I will choose daily, and then again I will come down here and add the time zone, rather add another time for data refresh. So I'll click here, add time. So apparently it is 3:29 p.m. So I want my data to be refreshed at 4 p.m. So I'll come here and change this one to 4:00 p.m. And then I can also add another time where the data can be refreshed at 5 p.m. Then I can also add another time, maybe the next day. The next day I want it to be refreshed. Not the next day because we are trying to refresh data daily. So today I'll just do these two, but you can always add this timing for refresh up to a maximum of 8. So I'll only do 2. Then I'll again scroll down here. So here again we have to select the semantic model. um, so we are selecting this so that when the data is not refreshed, I will be sent notifications. Again, I will select these contacts. I want to put my contacts such that when data is not refreshed, I will be given a notification within my email address. So I will click apply. After having put all this, I will click apply, and then now we are set. Everything is set. So when I come to my data set, so this is the Power BI service, and let me just take you back to my workspace where we have the report. So this is uh, the data set, and this is the report. So let me click on the report. So within this report, within my workspace, when I update my data sets, and then after within rather before 4 p.m., the updates within my data set should be reflected within this report. So let me just come here to my data set. So let's assume that on January 2024, um, January 1st, rather January 2nd, 2024, we had the quantity ordered was maybe 2000, let's say 20,000. So it then means that the extended amount will be 99,800, this one here. And then we also have the sales amount. The sales amount here will be 99,800. So this is what we have within our Power BI desktop as and the data within the data field. So when I come back to Power BI desktop, so let me just try to refresh this so that we can see the reflection of the same within this report from our from the data set that we've just updated. So first I need to save. I first need to save the data set. Then I'll come back to my Power BI desktop. Then I will refresh. So when the data is fully refreshed, the amount for sales for January should change. It was usually 1.34, now it is 1.44. So the data has been changed, but this one is just within the Power BI desktop. So when you go back to the Power BI service, because we did set our refresh time to 4 p.m., so this cannot still be reflected within the report until we'll reach um, rather until the time will be 4 p.m. for data refresh. So let me just take you back to my workspace, and then within our rather when we check on the semantic model, when you check here, you want to see the next refresh, you can see the next refresh here is 1600 hours, meaning 4 p.m. is when the data will be refreshed. So meaning the report will still remain as it is, where January is still having sales of 1.34 million, as opposed to what we have within our Power BI desktop, which is 1.44 million. So within the Power BI desktop, we've just done a manual refresh. It's not automated refresh. So that's how we do a refresh using triggers uh, with the on-premises data gateway. So remember, this one we're just trying to use the personal mode because this is uh, this is personal to me. I'm just using it for lectures. So if we're to use for the standard mode, then have we'll also have had to download the standard mode and install the standard. So that's all about uh, triggers and actions. And in the future classes, we'll still come again to touch on the triggers and actions. We'll be doing alerts on where we maybe where the KPI has changed within the report. So we'll be getting alerts within our email addresses or Microsoft Teams. So this was just for triggers, and we've also done an example of how to refresh or rather do an automatic refresh of data using on-premises data gateway connected to the Power BI service and the desktop. So let's stop at that. When we come back, we'll continue with the next class, in the next video, and then we'll be moving on to a subtopic of the ETL process, which is transform. So here we'll be trying to transform data before we load it to the Power BI application. So thanks a lot for watching, and let's meet again on the next video.